Again, got a Delta flight today. A little hazy, a little foggy, just a little bit. And the weather where we're going isn't much better either. But, you know, it is what it is. So it's going to be Delta flight, what is it, 2261. We're going to go from Atlanta on up to Washington, D.C., Reagan International. There could be some snow up there. We'll see if it's still there when we get there. But that's about it. Just loading up. Time to play a little X-Plane. So let's go ahead and get inside. Alright, so where do I begin? Let's see, overhead. Looks okay. I will start the APU though. So while that's getting started, so let's see. I guess FMC is a good place to start, isn't it? Well, I can check the oxygen. Do that little thing, you know, pretend to check that. Alright, so let's go ahead and dig into the FMC. I don't know, for some reason that's my favorite place to start. So we're going to go Atlanta. Over to DCA. Grab that so I can put the company route in. It's going to be 01, that's out of PFPX. Taking off from runway 08 right. It's going to be a short taxi today, as a matter of fact. And Delta flight 2261. Out that in. Activate. I'll come back to this page. So departure is going to be the jack to the Kellen transition. And then arrival. What is the arrival? I forget. Let me grab it real quick. The caps. And the waves transition. And that's going to be to ILS runway 1. Alright, put that in. Make sure I don't have any discos, and I don't. Alright, excuse me. Alright, so let's go to here. Well, you know, I haven't put everything in here yet, so let me go and put this into the weight and balance. So payload's going to be 41,000.1. That's a lot, actually. Quite a bit of cargo. And the fuel's going to be 17 even. That's in pounds. Alright, so now let's pop that in. 17.0. Put that in there. Reserves will just go at 5. I'm actually carrying a pretty good bit of fuel. It's like an hour and 50 minutes of extra fuel at arrival, so I'm not really concerned about not having enough fuel. Put that on since the weather's so bad. And the altitude is going to be 37,000 feet. Alright, so according to X-Plane, the winds are going to be 043. I don't think that's right. I don't think I have the right altitude. Yeah, let's put in the right altitude and see what we get. Alright, so wind's going to be 266 at 80. That sounds more appropriate. And the top of the climb winds are going to be negative 48. So pop that in. Alright, N1 limit, so let's grab the temperature. And the V speeds are going to be, here, let me run this one more time for flaps 5. I don't like doing flaps 1, it's not my thing. Waiting on top cat to load, there we go. So flaps 5. Alright, let's run that. Alright, so that's going to be, alright, so flaps 5. And speeds are going to be, where are they? 42, 43, and 48. All right, 142, 143, and 148. All right, grab the CG. 24.1, 42, 43, 48 are still in. And for the climb, we're going to go with 290 until we get to Mach 7.8. And we're going to do the same thing for the descent. And we'll worry about the forecast winds. I'll do those once I get in the air. I can take care of that then. Alright, landing with about 9.0. This probably isn't right. It's usually a lot more than that. Zibo mod doesn't seem to do a good job of predicting the fuel, but that's fine. It's free. Alright, so let's go ahead and fix the FMC. Turn that on. V2. What did I say it was? 148. Let's go ahead and grab a 08 heading. Oops. And cruise altitude at 37,000. Flight director on. And yeah, I don't know why that doesn't come on. It should, but it isn't. So we'll just go with the heading. I'll switch it on once I get in the air. Actually looks like the heading is 095. So put that in. Okay. And now we'll grab the pressure. All right, so the pressure is 3015. So put that in here once, twice, so it's already on the FO side because I have it synced. And we'll do it on the standby altimeter as well. All right, as far as the overhead, we'll put in 37,000 here. So we got it in the box, we got it in the MCP, and we got it in the overhead. That's the three places that you want it. And DCA's elevation, I believe, is 0. So we'll turn APU buses on, get some APU bleeds going. And let's go ahead and turn on the window heat. Alright, you know, I probably should turn that on for the flight leg. With the boarding ambiance. Ambrioa, what's going on, man? Hadn't seen you since last week. Alright, so all that's in. I get into this mode where I start trying to figure out, alright, now that I've done all that, what have I forgotten? Let's disconnect the ground power. Alright, so really, that's about it. I mean, it's pretty much set up. I can turn on the hydraulic pump so that I can set my trim. Let's see here. And you know what, let me do one thing real quick. Pardon me, guys. One bad habit I have is forgetting to get my flight controls all set up. But no big deal. Only takes a second anyway. Embryo, I'm doing pretty good. I'm on a set of off days right now. It's snowing like crazy where I am. It's practically snowed in. There's like, I don't know, probably about 9 or 10 inches of snow outside. And I got somebody visiting, so they picked a bad time to visit because there's hardly anything to do because the weather's so terrible. But outside of that, I'm doing okay. this in here. Alright, let's make sure it works. Alright, looking good there. And it works there. Alright, cool. And one last one. Alright. So you make paints. I had no idea. Where do you have them on the X-Plane form? And if so, which ones? Which ones have you said you made some new ones? Which ones did you make? I think it's crazy that you people know how to do that. That's beyond what I can do. Alright, so let's get that set. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and cue the folks to sit down. Let's turn on the seatbelt signs. And we'll turn on the probe heat.
Flight attendants, prepare your doors for departure, please. Cross-check and all call.
Cross-check and all call. Oh. Alright, so let's go ahead and hook up with better pushback to get on out of here. So we'll face north here. Smack on the taxiway. Right there.
Ground to cockpit, plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
I am ready.
Ground to cockpit, tow is driving up.
Yeah, that's true. There's a lot of that. But still cool though, man. It's beyond what I can do. If I could do some of that stuff, I would. I'd make all the things that I can't find on the forums or anywhere. Alright.
Feel free to utilize your mobile phones.
Foggy day in Atlanta.
While we're here at the gate. However, once we close our boarding door, you must please place these items into airplane.
Let's get hooked up and let's go. I'm anxious. You know, I don't need this VOR stuff, at least not right now. I don't, so I'll just turn it off. One less thing to distract me.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
Alright. I'm going to go ahead and throw in 122.8 on this side. Make sure we don't pick up any ATC audio that we didn't mean to. Okay, yeah, we'll do. I'll do that for sure.
Release parking brake.
Oh, release brakes. Brakes release.
Starting pushback, and you may start engines.
I'm gonna have to figure out a way. I'm gonna have to figure out a way to hook up with you, man, so we can go over something. Yeah, I would like to get some of that going. All right, so she says I can start, so I will. So PAC's off. And let's turn number 2.
Okay, be sure all carry-on items are securely stowed in an overhead bin. And place smaller items under the seat in front of you.
$23, $24, $25.
Larger electronic devices like laptops should be turned off and stowed until we're airborne. And the Princess access road off into the
It's a commander, or it's ex-commander. What's going on, man? How you doing? I want to say good morning, but I'm not sure what time it is where you are, so good whatever time it is.
This plane features Wi-Fi, and internet access will be available.
Alright, so it's like looking good on number 2, so might as well fire up number 1. Spin it.
Operation complete. Go ahead and set the parking brake.
Brake set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Alright, so there's 25 on the N2. And while that's going, we'll get the trim set. Just under 5, just a notch under 5. Ken69, thanks for the follow. What's going on, man? And disconnect. Do I need the base 3.3 Zibo before the C5 version? You know, I'm not sure. I actually, I don't think I'm running the most updated version of it at the moment. Got up early this morning, didn't have time to update it all. Just want to fire up a stream, but I'll definitely do that. And Ambriel, thanks for the Discord.
Disconnected.
I got that.
Spin has been removed. Hand signal
And
on the right.
we'll hook
See you
up on
next
that.
time, and have a safe flight.
Thank you, thank you. All right, so let's do the electrical flow here. Turn the packs on. Turn the APU bleeds off, and turn the APU off. And look at there, I forgot to turn on the fuel pumps. How effective. All right, so that's it for that. Now let's go ahead and turn on the RTO. Let's set flaps 5. All right, looking good there. Still can't select LNAV for some reason. I don't really understand that. I know I'm supposed to be able to, but it won't let me. All right, let's do a flight controls check. I sort of already did that, but oh well. And make sure the rudder kicks. All right, good rudder. All right, looking good there. Let's turn it back to the engine. And I would say we're about ready to go. All right, so let's turn on the taxi. Shut off the parking brakes and let's roll. Like I said before, it should be a short taxi. I mean, 8 right is like right there. And let's see, I don't see any major restrictions on the departure here. I don't see any on the charts either. So it should be a pretty straightforward. I'll probably hand fly it through 10. I don't know, maybe 15, depending on how I feel. Alright, so let's see. Outside temperature is 2 degrees C, and we got some visible moisture here because there's fog. So this is going to be an engine anti-ice. Don't need wing, but it's going to be an engine anti-ice on takeoff. Matter of fact, just so I feel better about it, let me rerun this for engine anti-ice on. So anti-ice, just engine. Probably won't get a big difference, but you know, sometimes it's a peace of mind kind of thing. All right, 42, 43, 48. Yeah, so no change there. Got high pressure anyway, so. Well, let me update and make sure I got the same speeds. Yeah, same speeds. All right, so nothing to do there. So we'll move on up. Yeah, like runway 8 right is like a right over there. Yep, right there. Have they even finished the announcements yet? Yeah, I guess they finished with that. All right, so let's sit them down.
Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be taking off in just a few minutes. Flight attendants, please start us down for departure.
All right, let me wait on the flight attendant to say they're good to go.
secured. Have a good flight.
Sure thing. Alright, so wing lights are on. Strobes, we'll switch those on. Landing lights, so let's go. And we'll do runway turn off since it's so foggy. Alright, let's bump and let's run. Alright, so 8 right is going to be runway for takeoff. We'll confirm that on the pavement. Alright, 8 right there on the pavement, confirmed. You got to do that now because of that crash that took place in Lexington with that Comair flight taking off on the wrong runway. It's procedure now, at least in the US, to call out the runway and confirm it before you roll. Alright, so 095 will line up the heading. Alright, so lights are on. There's the camera. And action. Alright, 50%. Stabilize. Alright. There's 80 knots. Alright, 100. Major failures only from this point on. There's V1.
V1,
rotate. Little ground effects there. Gotta load that next plane.
Positive rate.
Gear up. And just like that, can't see a damn thing. I'm just gonna turn to the left here. Let's see if we can switch on L now. There we go. There's 1,000. So nose it forward a little bit because the engines are going to spool back here. And let's accelerate. Oh, there's some ground. Alright. Found some clear air somewhere. So right now I'm just basically trying to speed it up, working the trim. Alright, we'll swap the flaps 1 as we go through the flap schedule here. You just want to make sure you keep the plane stabilized and keep a slight climb going. Alright, so there's flaps 0. Alright, getting a little turb here, I'm getting bounced around. Jari, what's going on, man? How you doing? Alright, so we'll try to hold 250 knots as we go through. Starting to get that back pressure relieved, so just about got it trimmed out. Jacoby 764, thanks for the follow, man. Glad to have you on. Alright, so just a little bit below 250, nothing wrong with that. So we'll go ahead and turn this off and we'll turn the gear to off. So that pretty much completes the after takeoff checklist. And there's the famous X-plane weather reload. Alright, so we're nice and smooth, everything looking good. You can practically take your hands off the yoke when you get it trimmed out good. Yeah, that's real weather, or at least real simulated weather, if you want to call it that. But yeah, it's from X-plane, Active Sky. Active Sky is the weather engine I use. I never tried any of the SkyMax Pro stuff and all that. I just stuck with the default until X-plane, or excuse me, why do I keep saying X-plane? Until Active Sky came out with their add-on. Alright, so we'll turn to the left. head to our next waypoint. Alright, and let's roll out on it. Alright, so it looks like we're out of the clouds now, so I'll go ahead and turn the engine anti-ice off. Alright, so just about through 10,000, so you know what happens at 10. We go faster and we turn off the lights. Alright, so there's 10,000. Nose it forward a bit as we do a right turn towards our next waypoint, which would be Jack's, I suppose. Alright, let's kill the lights. Probably shouldn't do this in a turn, but I will. Alright, and that's why, because you blow through your turn. I didn't blow through it too bad. Alright, so let's keep accelerating to 290 knots. Alright, Embryo. Hey, dinner sounds good. I mean, it's breakfast for me where I am, but I'll probably be getting something to eat here in a second too. We'll call it the crew meal. Alright, so that's a good spot for the trim. I'm not going to fight it too much more. Dinner time there. Man, let's see where I am. It's 10 a.m. Almost lunchtime, but not quite lunchtime. Oh, there's a phone call. Not supposed to have phones in the cockpit. Alright, so I'll go ahead and turn on the autopilot. So autopilot, Auto's got the airplane now. How about a flyby? Love it. Alright, so next intersection is going to be shut. And I'll go ahead and turn the engine stuff off for now. I don't think we're gonna have any issues there. Set the heading. So I'm interested to see what the DCA weather is gonna throw at us, because looking at the radar right now, there's some snow in the area. See, the latest ATIS is X-ray, and it says 2 statute miles, light snow, mist, broken 900. So there's your ceiling, and then broken 14, overcast 3000. High pressure though. It says arriving ILS 1, landing runways 1 as well. Birds in the vicinity. Let's see, 1/8 inch wet snow. Okay then. Yeah, pretty much crummy weather. All right, so there's 18. So we'll go once, twice, and 3 times on the standard pressure on the altimeter. Everything looking good on the overhead. So what's the arrival fuel now? Yeah, 10.0. So it's already gone up 1,000 pounds because at the gate it was reading 9,000. So that's one thing you can't do with Zibo mod is you can't use it for fuel calculations because that's not going to work. Jare, thanks for the follow, man. Appreciate that. Anytime I'm on here, this is about what you're gonna get. So see, if winds are 150 at 11, that's a slight cross. So one thing about X-Plane, and I think I mentioned this on my last stream, crosswinds get my attention on X-Plane. When I was doing P3D and Flight Simulator, I didn't really, crosswind or whatever. I mean, it was never a problem. But man, X-Plane, it's a whole different animal. You actually have to do a lot of work to land an airplane in a crosswind. So the 737 is climbing like a pig as usual. I think the only plane I know that climbs slower is probably a CRJ 200. When I used to dispatch at my first airline, which was Pinnacle Airlines. Pinnacle was a regional carrier for Delta Airlines. And I mean, I don't think I planned a single flight on a CRJ 200 above 32,000 feet. The thing was certified for, I don't know, 39,000, I want to say, or maybe it's 41. But there was no point in planning it. It'd never make it up there. I mean, unless the thing was slap empty, it'd never make it up there. So there was no point in planning it above 32,000 feet. And that thing, especially in the summer, with ice deviations +5 or +10. You get like 500 feet a minute climb rates when you're around like 25, 26,000 feet. You barely make it to 30,000 feet. Yeah, X-Plane's flight model is really good. That blade element theory, I read a lot on that, and I never realized how simplistic P3D and flight simulators, flight dynamics or flight models are. But this thing's super sophisticated compared to that. There's a story about Pinnacle that actually just comes to mind. I learned about it in training when I first got hired there. So Pinnacle was repoing, and for anybody that doesn't know what that word means, it's repositioning, just moving an airplane from one place to another. So they were repoing an airplane, I forget between which 2 airports, but I do know it flew over the state of Missouri. And so the plane's empty, right? And so these pilots got to goofing off, and they took this airplane all the way up to 41,000 feet. That's what it is. It was certified for 41. And it got up to 41,000 feet, and basically, I remember the controllers were pretty curious about that. They couldn't believe it. The controller asked the flight to verify its altitude. And they said, yeah, we're at 41, and the controller came back and she said, okay, yeah, we don't normally see you guys that high. And he said, yeah, we thought we'd come on up here and say hi. So what ended up happening was they got themselves in what's called the coffin corner. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's basically when if you got like a 10-knot window, and if you go just a little bit slower or a little bit faster, oh, my dog's whining, a little bit slower, a little bit faster, the plane will stall. I'm gonna let my dog out. Hang on a second. Go ahead. So anyway, and so they got up there and they trying to make sure I understand, if I remember the story right, but they got up there and they basically stalled, and the plane started descending, and on them, and they didn't tell ATC. I guess they were too ashamed to do that, and in trying to restart the engines, because the engines basically locked up on them, they ended up core locking the engine. So now the engine was basically just, the core of it was locked in place and fixed because it had melted, and so they couldn't do anything. So they had no engines, but they didn't know that. So they kept trying to windmill start this thing, and they're steady descending. And so instead of declaring an emergency or just landing the airplane at the nearest airport, they were dead set on continuing to try to restart this engine. And long story short, by the time they figured out that that wasn't going to happen, they had no airports to go to because they had lost too much altitude. And they ended up crashing this thing, I think, into somebody's barn on a farm or something like that. And everybody ended up perishing. But the story went something like that. But yeah, it was a terrible story, and that's why, like with these airplanes, you just don't want to plan them that high. This particular airplane, when I plan it at work, I don't plan this airplane above 36,000 feet if I'm over the mountains, particularly. With the mountains, you get a lot of mountain wave turbulence, and so you'll lose 10 or 15, maybe even 20 knots of airspeed before you even know it. And so you got this plane with a little bit of a heavy zero fuel weight or something, and you send that thing all the way up to 39 or 40,000 feet. That captain's got a window on his speedometer about that wide that he can work with. So he gets over there and he ends up getting some mountain wave or something, and he loses 10, 15 knots of turbulence. Well, that's all the airspeed he had, and just like that, he stalled. I was actually on a flight deck once. I was going Chicago to Las Vegas, and we were going over the Colorado Springs area, right there where the Front Range is in Colorado, where the mountains start. And we were just chatting it up, and I'll be honest with you, nobody was paying super close attention to the instruments. I'm not going to say we weren't paying attention at all, but it was kind of in the back of our minds. And then all of a sudden, we all hear the engines start to spool up, like they're starting to rev up. And so we turned and tried to figure out why it's doing that. And lo and behold, we were getting some mountain wave. And that's the funny thing about mountain wave is you can't even feel it. We wouldn't have even known if we hadn't heard the engine spool up. And we went and looked at the FMC, and the temperature was just changing. I mean, it was fluctuating 10 degrees Celsius back and forth as we were hitting this mountain wave. And that's when the captain started telling me about why he doesn't like to cross mountains above a certain altitude. That's where the whole conversation came up. But it was really interesting to watch that mountain wave, and it was just kind of a, you ride it on the one side and the temperature goes up and the speed goes up, and then when you come back down the other side of it, it does the opposite. The temperature goes down and the speed goes down. So yes, when you're playing Flight Simulator, I even do it there. I won't go above 36 if I'm above mountains or anything like that. And the reason why I say mountains is because you get mountain wave turbulence, and it's a very sneaky type of turbulence. Sometimes you might not be able to even know it's even happening. Also, if you go into the FMC, you see here you got, it's in climb right now for the thrust, but you can go in here and you can change it to cruise. The SOP for the airline I work at is to always have this in climb, because on a 737, it's just a 737. And the reason why we do that is because if we get to a situation where the airplane needs as much thrust as it can and the 737 doesn't have very good performance at high altitudes, we want to make sure that that speed is available. So we always leave it in climb, just a SOP. Probably not all airlines do that, but that's just the airline that I work for. Alright, so climbing through 32, where we're going again? 37, I think it was. Yeah, 37,000 feet. Optimum is 36, but max is just above 37. So it should be fine. And we're supposed to be arriving at, let's see, well, top of descent's at 1630-ish. And right now, wait, that can't be right. Oh, top of climb, I'm sorry, I'm looking at the wrong one. Top of descent is at 1652. So just be about 20 minutes at top of, or about 20 minutes at cruise, so it won't be long. So not a long flight. We've been in the air for 20 minutes, and the ETA according to PFPX is 1 hour and 9 minutes. So it doesn't take too long. So I'll tell you what, if you guys could excuse me for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, I hadn't had breakfast yet. So I'm gonna go do that, but I'll definitely be back before top of descent. So if you guys want to hang out or come back later, you know, either one, but I definitely won't be long. Like I say, it's not a long flight anyway, so I can't be gone too long anyhow. So yeah, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go eat some bacon and eggs or something. Alright, so how we looking? So we're at 37. And let's see, top of descent is in 168 nautical miles. So I guess that's enough time to let everybody get up and stretch their legs. And we'll do the PA for that.
Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, the seatbelt lights off. You're free to move about. Once you are seated, we recommend you keep your belts fastened. Thank you.
I like that, short and sweet. If you want to move, move. If not, keep your seatbelts fastened. I don't know why I get into these cabin announcements so much, but I don't know. It just adds to the realism. You can see the plane crabbing, angled off to the left. Arrival fuel 9.5. Let's see, the plan was to arrive at 9.8, so it's not too far off, and it'll probably get adjusted a little bit. So one thing I'm going to do to make sure that my descent goes as according to plan, because I get burned on this sometimes, is put in my descent winds. Every time I do this, things go well, and when I don't, especially if I have a tailwind, things don't go so well. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in. Let's see. Alright, so we're at 37, so we'll do 35, 28. Alright, we'll do 28, 21, and 14. So let's see, 28,000, 21,000, and 14. So that should be good enough to get a pretty good prediction on the descent. So 245 is 61. And then we got 240 at 43. And 244 at 29. I found that this isn't as important if you got a headwind. I mean, it's not as important in the sense of you won't overshoot it, but if you got a tailwind, you might overshoot it. So let's see, top of descent right now it's saying 1653, 146 nautical miles. So we put that in. I just want to see if this is going to change at all. It changed by a mile. No, it's probably because it ticked down. So I guess not any huge change there. But it's definitely right on the tail there. All right, so there's that. Go back to the 80s real quick. So it says, so Yankees out now. It's still saying 1/8 of an inch wet snow for the runway contamination. I wonder if Top Cat has a 1/8 inch wet snow. I want to see here. Let's go here. Let's see landing. So wet, contaminated. So all it has is dry, wet, and contaminated. So I'm gonna see what contaminated says from runway 1. So you can't use auto brake 1. So you have to at least use auto brake 2. I wonder if it'd be any different with dry. Let me see. So with dry, yeah, with dry you couldn't use auto brake 1 either. So it seems like the contamination is not a huge factor on this one, which I don't have a problem with that. Some people complain about X-Plane's clouds. I don't really have a big complaint. Other than these tiles, what is that? I seriously got to get into my config and start fixing some things. I had some LUA plugins in and I still haven't gotten around to taking care of that. But I deleted some of them as I was troubleshooting something, and I never put it back in. So now my shadows are messed up, and it looks like it messed up my clouds too. What about 1-inch dry snow? No, you know, I mean, in the real world, you know, we have all these different categories. I mean, from dry snow, compacted snow, wet snow, slush. I mean, we got it all. But for PFPX, which TopCat just feeds through PFPX, it doesn't have it. I'm gonna load TopCat up in a standalone. I'm gonna see if it's any different there. So see, I can send it through PFPX, so I'll just do it that way. So let's send it to TopCat. That way all my numbers are correct. Alright, so going over to landing, update the weather. So in flight. Yeah, all it has is dry, wet, and contaminated, but there's no specification on the amount or the type. So there's not really a whole lot to get into that. My understanding is that X-Plane models that. So if that's true, maybe I'll go with auto brake 3 just to make sure I got a buffer there. And we'll go in with flaps 40 to keep it as slow as we can. For a while, the company I worked for, flaps 30 was standard, but I think they recently swapped it to flaps 40, if I remember right, for the 737-800. But yeah, it looks like the standalone's coming up with the same results. You got a margin of 1,200 feet if you do auto brake 3. So we'll go with that. Doing the descent prep a little bit too soon, but whatever. The climb, so see, landing performance limit. That's something that I affectionately refer to as the climb limitation, but it's the same thing. You're not incorrect with your phraseology there. So let's see, the climb limitation. Let's see, landing, in-flight, compute. Let's see what it has in here. I think with TopCat, it doesn't tell you, like, I think it doesn't tell you what your climb performance limitation is unless that ends up being the limitation itself. So let me see here, I'll see if I can force it. So going in to DCA runway 1. And let's see, 142, so we'll round it to 143,000. Assume flex not ready for takeoff. What? Why are you saying it's saying assume flex temperature takeoff not authorized? Something I didn't enter something in right. Alright, so there we go. So the climb limitation is 100. Well, if you're running max thrust, which we would be, the climb limitation would be 148,000. So 148.4 would be the climb limitation. That's in pounds. We're going in at 143, so we're under that. You know, honestly, that seems kind of low. Like, actually, it seems way low, but it is. It's saying climb limitation is the limitation. Optimum -4. You got higher pressure, you got low temps. Oh, you know what? It's probably because probably because of a tailwind, I assume. Yeah, you're taking a, wait a minute, I just realized that. So you're taking a 6-knot tailwind. That doesn't make any sense. There we go, that's what it was. It was the weather. The weather hadn't been updated, so it had the winds wrong. Alright, that makes way more sense. So 155.2, that makes way more sense. It's going to be a precision approach, ILS to runway 1. Make sure I'm not having the top of descent sneaking up on me here. Yeah, I am. So it's 74 nautical miles away now. Yeah, we're doing a precision approach. I don't know what is referred to where you are, but we refer to it as precision and non-precision. So in this case, it'll be precision. So a non-precision approach would be an approach where you do not have a glide slope. You don't have any vertical guidance that is, you know, for going into the runway. So in this case, like if you had a localized approach, that would be non-precision. But you know, in this case, you got a full ILS, so that would be a precision approach. So yeah, 155.2 on the climb limitation. Or also referred to as performance limitation. So I'm going to go ahead and set 3 in the auto brake. I usually run 2 if I can, but you know, shorter runway, I suppose, so we'll do that. Is Autoland modeled in this aircraft? I believe it is. I want to, if my memory serves me correct, I do remember that there are some YouTubers that did run a full Autoland on this airplane. I haven't personally done Autoland on it myself. For me, usually, you know, once I break out of land, and I haven't gone anywhere where the visibility was so bad that I was below Category 1 minimums. So, you know, Cat 2, Cat 3, that's your Autoland. Cat 1, you switch off the autopilot and land the airplane once you have made visual contact with the runway environment. But I haven't run into a situation where I need to use Autoland, so I think it is. Like I said, I want to say I saw some YouTube videos where people were, but I haven't done it myself. So top of descent is in about 7 or 8 minutes. Said, dude, I love autopilot though. Right, it wheels up, engage the autopilot. You know, I don't know when the last time I took off and turned on the autopilot immediately. I feel like maybe I can remember some times in the past vaguely where I did it because maybe I wanted to look at the scenery real bad. Like I feel like I remember coming out of Dubai maybe once I did that with a Dubai scenery when I was playing P3D. Flight Tampa has a really good Dubai scenery. But for me, it's almost standard for me to hand fly through 10,000 feet just to get some, you know, just to get some time with the airplane. I mean, because granted, this is a simulator environment, but you never know in the real world. You might, you know, you might lose your autopilot capability, and you know, you want to maintain the ability to, you know, to hand fly the airplane if need be. So that's just some time to make sure that you stay acquainted with the airplane. But at the same time, I have been on flight decks where pilots have engaged the autopilot, like you said, almost pretty much as you pass through 10,000 feet. I mean, excuse me, 1,000 feet. Almost immediately turn on the autopilot. So you can do it either way. I'll tell you a quick story. I was coming out of Seattle one time, and I was riding on the flight deck. It was a 757. We were going Seattle to Chicago, and this captain, he's hand flying this airplane like a champ. He used to be a fighter pilot, so you know, flying an airplane is not a big deal for him. So he's hand flying the airplane, and I think we're climbing through about 12 or 13,000 feet, and the TCAS starts going off, and it starts giving us resolution advisories. So that means wherever this airplane is, it's close. We haven't heard a single thing from air traffic control. They have not mentioned an airplane. They have not given out an advisory or anything. So the first officer who's hand flying the plane, he basically follows the resolution advisory that he's getting from this primary flight display. And we're looking for this airplane, and then we see it, and it comes across like right in front of us. It was so close, like as it goes by, you could read the N number on it. It was so close. It was this Alaska Airlines airplane on descent going in, and we're just watching this plane just go by right in front of us like this, and we're looking at each other like, are you kidding me? And then as soon as he gets off to our right, ATC comes on and says, United 566, traffic no factor, continue climbing. And we're like, okay, continue climbing. We're like, why didn't you tell us? It was the craziest thing. Like, I thought they're supposed to call those things out. So I don't know if that was just a busted procedure on the controller's part or what, but I mean, that was pretty hairy. You said you do it at 50 feet. Well, you know, I promise you, hand flying an airplane is not that hard, given as long as you trim the aircraft. Now, if you don't trim the aircraft, you're going to be fighting that thing, and it's going to be erratic and all over the place. But as long as you alleviate the back pressure through trimming the airplane correctly, hand flying is a breeze. It really is. So I would recommend just trying to hand fly a little bit. You know, it's not to say that you have to do it every time, but every once in a while, just hand fly and just work on, you know, just getting the airplane trimmed for whatever airspeed that you want. Because when you're trimming the airplane, you're not trimming for an attitude. You're not trimming for certain degrees of pitch. You're trimming for speed. And so once you get it trimmed correctly, it's going to hold that speed pretty much dead on. I mean, maybe plus or minus 5 knots if you get some turbulence or something like that. But yeah, I would just work on that. Just you know, like I said, if you trim the airplane, it's not a big deal at all. Should be getting a little bit closer. So we'll go ahead and get the people seated.
Please recheck the security of your seatbelt.
And let's see, 18. So I'm gonna go ahead and start a vertical speed descent here of 1,000 feet.
1,000 to go.
Not quite there, Mr. First Officer. We'll go ahead and set it for 10,000. Let's see here. Let's go ahead and put in, let's just do a soft descent, 800 feet a minute at Mach 7.8. So I'm going to go ahead and pull up the approach charts here using Jefferson charts. Alright, so that's for DCA. Oops. Forgot I had top of the pause at top. Forgot I had pause at top of the descent turned on. Alright, so ILS localizer runway 1. Alright. Just move that way a little bit on the screen. Alright, so it's going to be 109.9 for the frequency. So let's get that dialed in. We'll go ahead and put it in on both sides. Really only need it on one side if you're not doing the auto land. But anyway, so 109.9. The course is going to be 6. Alright, we'll go ahead and turn on VNAVs since we're getting close to the descent profile. Alright, so we got that dialed in. So let's see, what's the MDA on this? Where is it? So Cat 1, so 214, not surprised by that. That's just above sea level there. So radio, I want Barrow, so we'll swap to that. Use radio whenever you're doing an auto land. Barrow whenever you're doing category 1. So 214 here. So that's set. Now why did VNAV not enunciate? Alright, so let's do a level change then. Just got hosed by the I don't want it to be too aggressive, so let's just go 3,500 feet a minute. We have to play a little catch up here, but that's fine, we'll catch up. Alright, so let's see what else we need to do here. So that's really about it as far as that's concerned. So we're all set up. Now I just got to catch back up with my descent profile. Alright, let's do 4,000. And let's open up the speed brakes. Alright, so now we're finally starting to eat into that altitude deficit that we have. So let's make it 4,500 feet a minute. So we're catching up nicely. Let's make a PA announcement.
Hey, good afternoon, folks. From the cockpit, starting a slow descent at this time. We would like to ask you to return to your seats, fasten up your seatbelts for the duration of the flight. Been a pleasure having you on board with us. Thanks for flying with Delta today. I can fly attendants. Go ahead and prepare the cap for our arrival, please.
I don't know, just love hearing that. So anyway, so let's see. Yeah, VNAV is sketch. Apparently, you're right about that. Obama bot. Let's see. This is like an emergency descent almost right here. Like you're just plummeting out of the sky. So listed alternate and reserve fuel. So listed alternate is Harrisburg. Solid weather there. And reserve fuel, so I had the 45 minutes reserve. Alright, so that's standard for US ops. You gotta have at least 45 minutes reserve. And then I had 30 minutes of hold fuel because of the weather in DCA. And then I had 15 minutes of extra fuel. So all in total, it was an hour and 52 minutes of fuel. Meaning I'm gonna land with enough fuel that I could have flown another hour and 52 minutes. So I guess technically, if you wanna quote the reserve fuel, the 45 minutes reserve was 4,000 pounds, but I would never consider that to be reserve fuel. What is going on? I'm getting smashed on this descent. Like badly. Alright, starting to catch back up with that, but I gotta get the speed down. But yeah, so it's Harrisburg. Harrisburg is Kilo Mike Delta Tango, if you didn't already know that. So we're gonna keep the speed brakes out until I catch up with the speed here. I almost got it back down now. 280 is the speed. So it looks like we just about got it now. So I'll let the boards back in. We'll keep an eye on that. That seems to be fluctuating all over the place. Alright, so let's line up to heading. Oop, went too far. Gotta keep an eye on the VNAV. Obama bot, I'll tell you another thing too. A lot of pilots I've found, they like to, if they feel that they may have to divert, they like to plan their fuel so that they land at the alternate with an hour. Now, by regulations here in the United States, we only have to land at the alternate with 45 minutes. And even technically, that's not true. I mean, because there's nothing saying that you can't burn into the reserve if you need it. But you shouldn't plan it that way anyway, to land, you know, with less. So what they'll do is they'll figure out what the burn is to the alternate, and then they'll add an hour to that. So in this case, the burn to the alternate is 21 minutes, right? So they go 1 hour plus 21. So anything after an hour and 21, they review that as a as sort of you know, that's their extra fuel. That's their, you know, fuel that they have to work with. Now, you don't have to do that, but that's just the way they want. That's a waste of fuel. Well, it depends. In the flight simulator environment, I would say it's certainly a waste of fuel. But I will tell you, in the real world, on a day like today, I can promise you this is about what you would want to plan, because DCA is going to be backed up with weather issues. There's going to be holding. Pilots are not as keen when it comes to holding as you might think. You might think, no, just because you have an extra amount of fuel that the crews are okay with holding to that point, but a lot of crews won't hold. So you might put, you know, say 20 minutes of extra fuel, but if a crew's not comfortable with it, then he'll just divert on you, like automatically. He'll send you a message and say diverting to Harrisburg. He won't even contemplate holding, even for traffic. So you do want a lot of extra fuel to make the flight plan reliable. Now, on a good weather day, I would never plan this much fuel in the DCA. I'd do like, I would say an hour and 15. You say, then why plan it? Just because I want to pretend like I'm doing real world stuff. For, like I say, for flight sim, there's no traffic. It's just you. There's no issues with ATC or anything like that. So there's no reason to put it on because it's flight simulator. But I like to pretend, you know, how would I plan this in real life? Because like I said, I'm a dispatcher in real life. That's what I do for a living. So for me, I don't know, just to try to keep things as real world as possible, you know. And so looking at it from a real world aspect, I would definitely put that much fuel on there, especially for DCA. Washington Center is one of the worst air traffic control centers there is, because they have a lot of issues with Dulles traffic, with DCA traffic, and with Andrews and you know, Air Force Base and restricted airspace. And then even flying through DCA airspace, like say you're going, say I was going Atlanta to JFK. You'll get holding way back in Washington Center airspace, because Washington Center has a hard time dealing with the traffic funneling in and out of New York, headed down to, you know, Atlanta, Miami, and places like that. So it's just an awful center. So if you're not planning extra fuel, you can easily get burned and find yourself in a situation where you're having to divert where you wouldn't otherwise had to if you'd have put on a little extra fuel. Did you check the intermediate diversion time? I think I know who I'm talking to now. Anyway, did you check the intermediate diversion time to see if any exceeded 60 minutes and then Obama bot? That should have given it away right there as to who I'm talking to. If any of my viewers are wondering, Obama bot, that's a buddy of mine. He decided to jump on here and troll me. Good job. I'm not gonna say your name so they don't know who you are, but good job. You had me going. You had me going. So Obama bot, why are you up so early? Because you normally are not up at 11. Oh, looks like we got a little rain. So let's see, coming up on 10,000. So the descent was nailed pretty good. I think putting in those descent winds helped a lot. My smartwatch zapped me. How's that thing working out for you? I know you just got that not too long ago. You like it a lot? Is it doing what you wanted to do?
1,000 to go.
I'm gonna go ahead and turn on the wipers. Just get them going on intermediate for now. All right, so from this point forward, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I think I'm just gonna use level change. So let's go level change. Let's put it at 240. get one last quick check on the weather. So ATIS information, Zulu's active now, so it's going to be 1 3/4 miles, light snow, mist, broken 1100. So at least we'll pop out before 1,000 feet. Still landing on runway 1. So looking good. Yes, sir. All right, cool. You gonna talk me into getting one?
1,000 to go.
All right, so let's see here. Let's go ahead and put in 5,000. I will descend to 5,000. Level change, that is. By the way, man, I think I'm going to be in Chicago later, bringing up some folks to do some sightseeing, some touring. You going to be around? That's directed at Obama bot. Alright, so we're going to descend to 5. Keep an eye on the descent profile, kind of a guidance, not necessarily something you got to do, but it's a good thing to keep an eye on. Alright, cool, man. I'll hook you up. It'll be about, I don't know, 2. Let's see, what time is it now? 11. So yeah, it'll be about 2 in the afternoon. It's 053 on the heading. Still not picking up the approach yet. Let me make sure I got everything dialed in right. I'd hate to get all the way over there and realize I didn't have the right frequency. So 109.9 is the frequency. What is this saying? 109.9 as well. 109.9 there, 109.9 there. So everything's in. So I should be picking it up not too long from now. Let's see, we're less than 10 from that, so I'm going to go ahead and slow to 210 knots. Let's go ahead and go flaps 1. I like watching the slats come out. I missed it, guess I got there too late.
1,000 to go.
So 6 miles from the course. Looks like we're about 25 miles from the runway. So it should be leveling off here at 5. And there it is. Let's get it.
Lieutenant, please prepare the cab for arrival.
Yes, please do. Alright, so now I'm going to descend to 3,000. Still not picking up the approach system yet. Ah, there it is. About time. 22 miles out. India Delta Charlie Alpha. So the identifier is good. Why am I descending so fast? Like, what the hell? Alright. Is it really that necessary to be that aggressive? Alright, so let's arm the localizer. We'll pick up the localizer beacon and head inbound. Not close enough for the glide slope just yet. So we'll hang out here at 3,000 until we intercept the glide slope. Alright, so let's set the heading to 006. And what's the missed approach altitude? Missed approach altitude is 2,200 feet. So can't set that just yet, but we'll get to it. Alright, so it looks like, let's see, VOR localizer's captured, altitude hold is on, so looking good, looking good. Gonna go ahead and go to flaps 5. I'll watch this to make sure. What is wrong with the engines? Like, why do I need that much power? This is really strange. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not digging this at all. The behavior of the engines is just really odd to me. I don't have speed brakes out. Okay, fine. Let's see. Yeah, this would be icing conditions. Good catch. So we'll put engine and wing anti-ice on. Good catch there, Jari. I should be finding that glide slope any minute now. Well, it shows flaps 5 in the window here. So I think I'm still flaps 5. So I want to ask anybody that might know, is icing modeled in X-Plane? I don't believe it was in Flight Sim. I'm fairly certain that it wasn't. Is that like specifically modeled in X-Plane? So approach is on now. Oh, it is. So maybe that's why okay. No kidding. Alright. I'm an X-Plane noob, so I guess I didn't know. Alright, so let's go flaps 10. We'll leave it on flaps 10 until I'm about ready to drop the gear. So slowing a $180 here. Icing is modeled in X-Plane. No kidding. How aggressive is it? I mean, is it you know, do you know, like, is it very aggressive? Is it just a minor effect, or? All right, so we're gonna ride the glide until about, I'd say about 7 or 6 or 7 nautical miles out, and then I'll go ahead and reduce it to approach speed. So approach speed is going to end up being 100. I'm going to do 145, so we'll do VREF plus 5. So you got better flight dynamics and anti-ice is modeled. So let me guess, runway contamination is modeled in X-Plane as well? Because that was something I used to always just simply pretend on. I never actually took it seriously because it wasn't modeled in Flight Simulator. All right, so 6 out. So let's go ahead and get our plane all dirty up here. Don't know if runway contamination is modeled. Wouldn't surprise me since everything else is. X-Plane is pretty serious about that apparently. All right, so flat 15, gear down. Flaps 25. Embryo is going all right. You know, ran into some icing that I didn't know was modeled, and probably was about ready to stall. But other than that, we're good. It's time to land. You came back just in time to see us getting it dirty and getting it landing configured. All right, so flaps 40, gear down, 3 green. Missed approach altitude is not set, you liar. All right, so 2,200 feet for the missed approach. Looks to me like we're good to go. Landing checklist complete. So now, look at there. There's the runway. Barely make out the runway there. I'm tempted to turn off the autopilot, but I got this old flight sim thing in the back of my head where sometimes you still lose the runway even after you saw it because the weather would be all screwy. But I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off.
400.
Let's turn that off as well. My airplane.
Minimums 300. 200.
My slats are acting stupid.
100.
Look at the water going across the runway.
50. 40. 30. 20. 10.
All right, reverses. Gonna use up just about all of this runway. Alright, so there's 60 knots. Manual braking. That's crazy how it shows that water going across like that. That's pretty cool. I wonder what conditions create that. Alright, so let's get off the runway. There's Kilo. Alright, so let me get the airport chart up here. 10-9. There's Kilo, so we want to go down. Yeah, Kilo's fine. Alright, so let's get it cleaned up. Flaps up. Slats up. Auto brake off. Wait, I could have swore I turned these lights on. Are you kidding me? Oh well. Taxi light is on. You turn the strobes off. Turn the wing light off. Ignore that, flight attendants.
Okay, the cabin is secured. Have a good flight.
That's why I hate that that is tied into this wing light, because it's SOP for my company to turn on the wing lights anytime they're crossing a runway. So, for example, right now, that runway we just crossed, I would have to turn on wing lights until I'm, out of that runway. So, anytime you're crossing a runway or on a runway, you turn on the wing lights. Well, Zibo has that tied into that, and I do think there's a way to change it, but I'm not sure. Can't remember. But just something I have to deal with. Let me turn the clock off. So, looks like it was about an hour and 10 minutes. So, PFPX is just about dead on. You think it looks lame for real? The water shooting across. I mean, it can't get it perfect, but it's better than nothing. I'll take it. So what gate we gonna park at? Wait, did I just pass all the gates? I hope I didn't. I might have though. Let's see here. Yeah, looks like I did. Ah well, we'll make a U-turn. It happens. So would you rather not have it at all? I only saw this one at a time when I was landing in St. Louis with default scenery. So this is only my second time actually seeing it. But it's fine to me. I mean, it adds for, you know, environment. I'm not gonna turn on the APU. I'm just gonna grab ground power whenever I park. So I'm gonna take this second gate right here and call it good. You can't turn it off, you know that for sure? Like you can't delete a file if you don't want it that bad? Alright, so no auto gate here in DCA. Well, that's fine, we'll live. I might have to get outside the airplane to try to get a decent parking job out of it. So we'll just use this. We'll take the second to last marker. Alright, let's hold it right there. Alright, so parking brake set. Ground services, we'll chalk it. We'll grab the ground power, swap that on, kill the engines, and tell everybody they can get up and crowd up towards the front door. And now let's turn the engine anti-ice stuff off. Probe heat off. Pumps off. This flow is all wrong, by the way. So we got that. Turn the hydraulic pumps off and turn the anti-collision light off. Wing off. That's about it for that. As far as MCP, we'll go flight directors off. So that's looking fine. I'm going to take this off the radio so I don't have to look at it in the MFD. Alright, will it let me open the doors? I still haven't seen the master how to be able to open doors. I don't know why. It's like there's something I'm not doing. You can set it in its transparency to 0. Ah, okay. Where do you do that? Where do you set the transparency to 0? Is that in the config settings, like on the text inside the one of the folders? So that's good. And trying to make sure I got everything. That's about it. Open the door. Can I still not open the doors? Oh well. Shocks are set. Yeah, I don't know what I'm doing wrong on that. Cycle that maybe. Nah. Ah well. Well guys, we made it to DCA in one piece. Thanks to Jari for or Hari, I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing that wrong. For letting me know that I'm in icing condition, because I said something's not right. I was like, I don't know why these engines are working so hard. It didn't make any sense. So now I know icing is definitely modeled on X-Plane, so that helps me a lot. But anyway, that's about it here in DCA. So I'm going to roll out. I'm actually about to head out and go take a drive into Chicago. Got some friends in town that want to do the whole tourist trap thing, so that's fine. We'll do that. In any case, you guys be good out there, and thanks for all the help. Thanks for the tips. You know, we all help each other, and like I said, if there's anything I can do to help you guys, just let me know. I dispatch in real life, so if you got any questions you want to throw at me, you think I can help you with, just let me know. Otherwise, I am out of here.